Hey crafters, it's Leo with Dreaming Tree, and today we're adding a howling new friend to our jointed Halloween collection. Now you've already seen the witch, skeleton, and Dracula, and now you'll get to meet our jointed werewolf. He's definitely spooky, and based on the patterned papers I picked, maybe even a little stylish in his denim and plaid. He's fully posable and perfect for hanging on your wall, door, or anywhere you'd like to bring a little playful fright to your Halloween decor. Let's get started. All right, so here he is. Super cool looking, actually. Turned out really awesome, I think. Let's start off by just putting together, we'll kind of work our way up from the legs to the body. Okay, let me get these on frame here, or on the screen. And the bottom part of the legs are made up of these 5 layers. Okay, so you can put them together in whichever order you want. I'm going to start with the bottommost layer and work my way up. Okay, so this is going to go on just like this. And this is mostly just a paper piecing project, very simple, very enjoyable for the most part. You're just going to be using standard cardstock colors with the exception of the plaid, which I'm sure every single one of us has in our stash, and a little bit of denim, which you may or may not have. Blue will obviously work, but boy, does it really come to life when you have some nice denim paper. Okay, so we've got that layer on. The next layer is this brighter brown color. I think we went with maple syrup and mocha, I believe. It's all in your supply list. And this one should go together in a jiffy. Should not be difficult at all. There we go. And we're just going to work our way up. I found in my stash I had, I don't remember off the top of my head what the name of it is, but again, we'll share it in the supply list as far as the name of the paper we used for the denim. It's actually the same denim that we used on the Easter project, which is like the bunny pants. So if you have that, you only need 1 sheet of it. Okay, so it's really not that much. And full disclosure here, I actually shrank this down by about 75% because it's easier for me to photograph with the other 3 items in the bundle. Because this thing at its original size is about 20 inches tall. So yeah, you can resize it to whatever you want. You can actually probably make it a little bit bigger too. If you do make it smaller, keep in mind that there are some pieces that are pretty detailed, which may make it difficult to cut too small, specifically the teeth and the eyes. But at about 75%, it worked nicely for me. So there's his leg, and we'll do the same thing on the other side here. I think this video is mostly going to be story time, honestly, because, well, it's again pretty straightforward. We're just literally gluing layers on top of layers and having some spooky Halloween fun here. So this one is essentially the same thing, aside from the fact that it's mirrored. So not much new to learn here. Just, again, starting from the bottom, working our way up. I think that's easier to do so that you're not trying to peek around and identify where the layer ends and where it begins. So we'll probably use that method throughout this project. But anyway, we just got back from Europe. We were in Amsterdam visiting Creative Fabrica. That was fun. And then I went to Poland to see my 89-year-old grandma, who I haven't seen in 25 years. She got to meet her great-grandson for the first time, which was bittersweet. And yeah, I feel like I'm still kind of recovering from the jet lag ever so slightly. Of course, I come back and the kids bring home whatever it is that the Petri dish, known as their school, blessed us with. So that's been fun. But all in all, fall is just around the corner, starting to cool off a little bit. I'm starting to see little peaks of color, and I'm kind of excited to have some new experiences with our little guy who's going to be 3 in November. I think he's finally understanding like what's going on in the world, and so, you know, pumpkin farms and, you know, carnivals and stuff like that. It's just super fun watching him experience those things for the first time. It's really probably my biggest joy ever, really. All right, so the legs are done here. Now, if you want, what you can do just to make sure that, you know, everything stays nice and flat while you're working on other stuff is pop it underneath your mat and just let your mat kind of, you know, just make sure it's flat. All right, so next we're going to work on his little thighs here. And now these pieces here, I want to say that they are symmetrical. Yeah, they're pretty much the same. I don't think that there's a difference here. No. But obviously, this is really cool what Diana did here with the little slash marks on the jeans. I think that's so cool. We've really been utilizing the single lines a lot more in our designs lately to add details where normally, well, I just really didn't think it was possible to add certain kinds of details, but surprisingly, you know, just adding single lines in various places really is more pronounced and more visible than you would think. And we've been doing that a lot. In the witch card that we also are releasing with this bundle, we did it for her lips and her nose, which I didn't think was gonna, you know, show very well, but it absolutely did. And it doesn't even matter most of the time if it's a dark or a light color. It still shows through very nicely. So that's kind of really, you know, kind of cool. A little, I guess, disappointed that we didn't start incorporating that a lot sooner. But no, that's what happens when you do something over and over again and start to get comfortable with your craft. You start to kind of experiment and try new things, and I'm glad we did, because it just adds this nice little detail that you normally wouldn't have. Okay, so again, putting the little thighs together here. That looks great. And this werewolf, you know, obviously he transformed from a man into a wolf, and his pants got a little destroyed. He must have some really big calves, and definitely some really big legs and arms. His forearms just blew up massively. There we go. Okay. See, I just realized that on this one, I might need, no, that's fine. I'm just talking out loud here. All right, so these are done. I'm gonna pop these underneath my mat. And the fun part is once you get all these individual sections assembled, you get to like put them together, and that's so fun. All right, so you can see here, we have a brown layer that's gonna go on top of the black, and that kind of creates a little shadow between his fingers, but also brings his little fingernails to life, which I thought was really cool. You got his claws, I should say. They're not fingernails. Okay, so we'll put the brown on top of the black and match that up as accurately as you can. Now these fingers might be they might have a little bit of a mind of their own here, so you might need to kind of nudge, especially this one here. You might need to nudge that a little bit over, and I may need to re-glue that one. That's awesome. He's going to be really cool looking. Let's take a look. That's all right. That'll do. Okay, let's make sure he's... All right, cool. And then, so this part here, there's more fabric over on the left side of I guess this would be the left hand, his left hand. Okay, so just visually identify, you know, what I'm doing here and just match it up with what you're doing, and you'll be in good shape. This is the kind of project where you can literally just look at the photo and you'll probably be fine. But obviously I like to do the videos. All right, there's that. And then we have this gold piece that's going to go behind the plaid, just so that you didn't have to put a tiny little button on there, even though we do have some areas where there's tiny little buttons, but nevertheless, we also wanted to give him a little bit of bulk so he's not so flimsy. So tried to add layers wherever possible. And I've got a nice gold foil here. And we'll get that glued down right here. Okay, just make sure you've got the right one in the right spot. Super cool. And the fun part about this is when we see your versions of it, to see how he looks in various plaid and denim. Or maybe he's gonna have some other, something else, who knows? Some other kind of pants, I don't know. All right, so left arm or right arm, depending on if you're the werewolf or if you're looking at him. Okay. Let's get some glue on the fingertips there. Just go easy here. You don't need a ton of glue. And again, I'd match up the main part of it first, but then also very carefully just make sure that the fingers line up correctly. Since they are kind of cut in the center there, they may kind of have a mind of their own and want to wander a bit. So line that up as accurately as you can. And then we can get the denim portion applied, and then we'll work on his body and his face. And before you know it, he'll be ready to meet up with the rest of the ghoulish gang. I know I've seen some people over the years, you know, they're like, enough with the jointed characters, to which I say, nope, I like them. I like them, and they go up in my house. My kids love them, and we're not gonna stop until we've exhausted all of the main Halloween characters. I really wish we could, you know, create some that are protected. Like I'd love to do a Michael Myers, a Jason, a Pennywise. But of course, that's all, you know, under copyright, so we're not going to go there unless we get, you know, some rights. But so there's this other arm. I'm going to pop that under my mat, and then here's the top parts of his arm. Okay, just make sure you match that up with the correct shape that goes behind it. Again, this is just to kind of double up the thickness so it's not so flimsy in any of the areas. This almost looks like a shoe print or a footprint. And I did go around and ink this, you know, since mine was orange. I tried like an orange color, but I don't know. I ended up going with a brown because I wanted to darken the edges a little bit. So anyway, almost on the home stretch here. You can see there's little buttons there. That is going to be a job for your pick-me-up tool. All right, so we've got these. I'm going to put these under my mat as well. And let's take a look here. Now, the face and the head, we're going to do that separately. We're going to start with this first. Okay. So first things first here. This is the main part of our werewolf. We're going to glue the denim portion down first. Okay, because we need... Now the only thing that's going to be visible from this piece that we're putting down is his pants portion. But again, we wanted to try to keep everything consistently thick, same thickness throughout. So that's why we're kind of using this denim piece mostly to, again, maintain consistency as far as the thickness in this project, and not so much because we can see it. All right, so let's match that up. Okay, line that up as accurately as possible. You can see you've got your little cutout at the top so that you can either hang it or put a string in there and string it. All right. And next, we're going to put the main part of the plaid down. Now this pattern that I'm looking at right now is so busy that sometimes it's hard to even see where you're putting your glue. So do your best if you're in the same predicament here. I think this is, I want to say this is, oh boy, Echo Park paper, I think maybe. All right, and this one here, I also, yeah, so I already said that I think I inked the plaid with a brown, and the denim, I started off with a blue, but it's a rather dark denim, so I ended up going with black, actually. I inked it black. There we go. All right, cool beans. So now what we have here is we have this little element for his belt, okay, and that's gonna go right here. I'm gonna flip it around this way. You're gonna tuck that right in there. And we'll get that glued down now, since it's just kind of logically the next layer that needs to be put down. Then we have two gold elements for his little belt buckle. And the first one, you can kind of see that there's a little outline of a rectangle there. So that one's going to go on first, and then the second one is going to go centered on that first one. Kind of give it a 3D look, like that. Just try to get it centered. Did I get that centered? Mostly. Fortunately, foil is a little slippery, and you have a little extra time. All right, so next, what we're gonna do, and we have two of these. Okay, one has little cutouts that are a little bit smaller. The other has cutouts that are a little bit bigger. Okay, the smaller ones, you're just gonna match up with the existing cutouts on this side here. I did ink this with black, just so that you could sort of differentiate this layer from the one under it, add a little bit of depth and dimension to this. Okay, and all you want to do here is just make sure you line it up with the bottom. Actually, just line it up with the cutouts. Duh. What am I talking about? Perfect. Nudge that in, press that down. Yeah, and you can see how there's a little just a variation there. And now this one here, you're gonna match this up with the very bottom. Okay, and it's gonna go just like that. Pardon my head, sorry if it was in the way. It does that sometimes. It's awfully freakishly large. Not really, but kinda. All right, we'll match that up with the bottom. And just make sure it is flush along the inside as well. And here's where we're gonna have some fun. Kinda. Got our little buttons here. Okay, so what I would suggest doing is literally just dropping a tiny, tiny little dot of glue in there. The smallest dot of glue you could possibly fit in there, because that's all you need. And these will fit like a little puzzle piece, so you just drop them in there and then just press down and you're in good shape. They're so small you can literally just like press them with your finger to lift them up. And then if you got enough glue on there, it should stay in place. So maybe this isn't even that hard. Again, I've been doing this for so long now that, I don't know. It comes second nature, I guess. Get that one in there. Hopefully that was enough glue. Get the last one. I don't even know why it sticks to your finger. Maybe there's a little moisture in there or something. Or maybe I have like magic powers. I don't know. All right, maybe didn't have enough glue on that one. There we go. All right, so the buttons are in place. Yeah, and once I photograph it, you'll kind of see it. And then we have a little pocket. It's made of two layers. The first one is just the main pocket layer, and you'll also see that there's a little set of markers to help you with the positioning of that right there. And then there's another layer that goes on top, right at the top of that pocket, to give that even more added dimension, like so. There it is. Okay, so there's Mr. Wolfman. And then this is another layer that's going to go on top like this, and that's really just so that we could separate the collar from the actual body, and that'll also thicken him up a little bit more. I don't know that he really needed much more thickness up on top, but it's okay. I don't argue with Diana when it comes to how she separates everything. And based on feedback, neither do you guys, because it all works beautifully in the end. All right, so now we need to put his head together. We're going to start off, and we can do this one of two ways. I'm just going to do this separately, and then we'll put his head on the main body once everything's said and done. So we're going to start with the black layer, and let's go ahead and throw a little bit of glue on this guy here. Get some on those little strands of hair, his little fur. Go easy here. Don't really need to cake this thing with a ton of glue. And this thing is already drying. Okay, just be careful though, especially because we're putting this on a black piece. We don't want to blemish it. Most of it will be hidden once we put the next few layers down, but still want to be kind of careful. All right, let's press that down. Cool. Next, we're going to take this color. I think it's winter wheat, and you can see how that's going to fit in like a little puzzle as well. And this is where you'll be able to test the accuracy of your machine. I cut mine with a Juliet by Caesar, and I already checked it, and it's perfect, super accurate. And if your machine is not cutting accurately, this won't fit in there like a perfect little puzzle piece. But mine does. Yours should too, even if Cricut should be able to handle it. But I guess we'll find out. All right, so that's there. Now let's put the little, let's put these little guys in place here. And now I have to remember how this works. It works like that. Okay, so, and then this one's gonna go like this. Okay, and we do have little markers there in the ear section to help you with that. And I just throw a few little dots of glue on here. You don't want to overdo it because you are going on a dark color and we don't want to blemish that. Use those little markers to guide you. Perfect. Okay, so there's that. Do the same thing with the other one. Okay, and pop that in there. Perfect. You can see, again, the little single line cutouts to add that beautiful detail. All right, let's put the mouth to, actually, you know what? Let's put the nose in place here. We cut out a second nose because we didn't want his nose to look like it was recessed or debossed. So just put a little bit of glue on that, pop that extra nose in there. So that is on that plane. Okay, and then we have his spooky teeth. And take the layer with the bottom and top teeth connected, and we're going to glue this onto this piece here. Same color as the ears, the inside of the ears. Line that up as accurately as you can. Press that down, and then we'll take the additional top layer of teeth, and we're going to glue that on top of the initial top layer of teeth. Okay, and then all we have left is his eyeballs after that. Save the smallest things for last. Well, not quite, I guess, because we have these buttons here. Now this, when we glue this down, this is going to go up against the brown part here, up here. Okay, so you want black underneath and on the sides. So let's go ahead and throw a little bit of glue on there. And just an FYI for my cat people, you know, I have two cats. One's Pumpkin, one's Salem. Obviously, they both have Halloween type names. And Salem has he's been outside lately. I don't know if you can see him back there. Yep, there he is, poking around. I just didn't think I could trust him when he was a little smaller, and I don't let them out at night. They hang out with me in the yard. All right, so by the way, the eyes, you can see that it's a little bit more straight on one side and rounded on the other. Keep the rounded side towards the bottom. Yep, and he's been snooping around my studio, and he's been a good boy, actually. None of them leave the yard. They've got about almost 2 acres to explore, and they're good about staying in the yard, so why not? Okay, other eye. And you can see that we did include markers to help you with the positioning, so you can't mess that up. And there he is. Yeah, he's almost like the Mona Lisa, where you can't tell if he's smiling or if he's mad. So that's perfect. All right, and then he's gonna go on like this. Now, I can't decide if I'm gonna go and glue that down, or I actually think that I might zot this. I think I want some additional dimension on his head. So I'm gonna do that. Why not? I think that'll look cool. I think that's probably all we need. I'll just go with 4 of them. Okay, and let's line that up with the shadow layer below. There we go. And see, I like that because it kind of creates a little bit of shadow there, adds some dimension. You could even take this and kind of flare out his little chest hair a little bit if you want to make that a little more pronounced. It's up to you. I think just having the lines there kind of looks cool, but anyway. All right, so, oh, by the way, quick little tip here. I had these brads, but none of them really were the perfect color. So I just painted them. I put them in this little foam, and I just painted them. And you could do that too. Okay, so let's go ahead and piece them together now. All right, so let's finish this guy up. All right, so you can see we have these 2 pieces here. These are actually gonna go behind. Okay, now these holes are a little bit smaller since I made this whole thing about 75% the size, but that's fine. You can still poke that through without a problem. The little brad will essentially just kind of widen it. And because it's a little bit smaller, it'll actually stay put a little bit better, at least for now, until, you know, it kind of works itself out and loosens up from all the movement. All right, so let's poke this one through now. And we'll pop that in there. Let's spread that out. And the harder you push on that, the more it'll kind of just stay in place. That's so cool. All right, so let's take this one and poke that through gently. Get this one going. Okay, there we go. And get his other arm. And this part's gonna go on top. There we go. I really don't need to show this, but it's fun. This is my favorite part. Peyton's gonna love this. I'm afraid to give it to him because I know he's probably just gonna destroy it, but oh well. The things you do. All right, so these guys here, again, this is gonna go behind. So let's grab, these should be dry by now. I kind of painted them before I started filming. So let's poke this one through. Hopefully I don't, yeah, maybe it's still a little sticky, but it's fine. And actually, I should have done an orange one there. What was I thinking? I wasn't thinking. Hold on. I have more orange ones. I painted 2 that I didn't need to paint. That's okay. Here we go. Yeah, so that orange could have been a little more red, but it doesn't really bother me. I think it's cool. Maybe actually better demonstrates that these are jointed anyway, and they doesn't really bug me too much. All right, so this is going to go through here. Let me put this down. You get the idea. This would be a fun little project to do with a child, I think, especially this part anyway. Maybe there's some things that they could glue together. I guess, again, it depends on their level of dexterity. But let's get this one in there. There we go. And I'm just kind of bouncing around here, but you get the idea. Spread that out. Yeah, and this is at about 75%. And this is going to go under. See, now this one here could have made this white because there's white showing through here, and I don't know, whatever. I might go back and fix that, we'll see, but it's not a huge deal. I mean, these could all be any color you want, and obviously I think it's best if it somewhat matches with the color, but whatever, work with whatever you have. If you have paint, you can paint them. If you don't have paint, just get it on there. I mean, it's not like, I don't know, it's not like he really cares about his appearance at this point. His pants are all ripped up and whatnot, so whatever, it's fine. It's Halloween. Have fun with it. That's the most important thing. Okay. Oh, yeah, see, that's still wet. That's weird. Is that still wet? Yeah, it's still wet. Oh well. Jumped the gun. I didn't think I was going to get it done that fast. There we go. A little bit of paint never hurt nobody. There we go. All right. And there he is. Cool. He looks awesome. All right. There he is. So that is going to do it for our jointed werewolf. Again, I cannot wait to see your version. And I know one thing that's going to happen is, you know, if I have his arms up like this, people are going to say, well, his thumbs are not in the right spot. Are they? I don't even know. But, you know, it's depending on how you pose him. I guess you could swap his arms, but I think that looks cool either way. That looks awesome. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please visit us on our YouTube channel. Hit that subscribe button. While you're there, hit the little bell so you get notifications anytime we release a new project. Also, if you make this or anything from our new bundle, I would love to see it. So head over to our Facebook, do a search for Dreaming Tree Official. That's where you'll find myself and the rest of our team and our 47,000 other crafters that craft with us. And again, this project is available exclusively on Creative Fabrica. So head on over there, grab yourself an all-access membership. Which gives you access to all of our content, which is officially there. We also have the bundles there now. And if you're not quite ready for an all-access membership, we do offer these individually now. Single sales are available. Just look for the little single sale add to cart button on the product page, so you can get it separately as well. But anyway, hope you guys had a blast. Happy Halloween, and as always, I look forward to crafting with you again.